Kelly,
Hey,
Kelly,
how are ya?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. I haven't seen you in like ages.
I know. Oh my goodness. It's
I
so good
know.
to see you.
Crazy. How are ya?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about
Cool.
you?
Good. Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit sick right now, but I'm
Oh
getting,
yeah?
yeah,
Uh,
you know,
everyone. Everyone.
I know. I don't have COVID though, so that's good.
Well, that's rare. It's like everyone's got COVID.
I know. Have you got it? Like, did you get it?
No.
No.
No, I haven't. I haven't got it. So
Well, that's because you're too darn healthy.
trying, right? Uh,
That's so awesome. Good. What was I gonna just ask you and I can't remember? Huh. Oh well. Can't remember. Does it sound good? Everything's okay?
yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna
Oh,
talk to Jesse here. Yeah, go ahead.
how long is your show? Just so I know.
40 minutes, 45 minutes.
I always like to ask because sometimes people's shows are only like 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So I always like
And
to
and
ask.
and if we need to go over, we will. Otherwise,
Well, we tend to have long conversations, so
we can. So,
so yeah, so I'm ready to go and you're leading the conversation. So I'm excited about this.
all right. Well, that'll be awesome. I'll just do like a very quick intro as soon as I get the word here, and then okay, here we go.
Oh my God. Hang on, I gotta get the phone over here.
Welcome everybody to the Level Up Show. I'm Sean T. McIntyre, and we're going to be talking about perseverance and overcoming the odds. And I want to welcome to the show 7-time best-selling author, TEDx and international speaker, Kelly Falardeau. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Sean. I'm excited to be here with you.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too.
So are you one who makes New Year's resolutions and goals, or
No. No.
I
I
love the honesty. I love the honesty. But you know, it's interesting because I've never heard it so much before. You know, the whole saying, new year, new you, and all this. And
yeah.
I've never heard it so much as this year saying new year, but no, it's the same old me. I'm just going to do the same old thing. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting spin. But so anyway, I'm looking forward to our conversation, perseverance, overcoming the odds. And, it's actually how you and I met, is just through those circumstances of telling our stories, the things that we went through, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I still remember the day very clearly, and when you were saying you wanted to write a book and, you had all these ideas in mind and you were trying to decide who to work with. And so, I was really proud that you did choose me to work with. And, I still remember having all these multiple conversations with you. And then, your biggest fear was quitting and not finishing and ultimately not
Absolutely.
persevering, right?
That's it's I find it really interesting, Kelly, because writing my first book, and book number 2 is going to be coming, so that's
Yep.
awesome. But honestly, writing my first book literally might have been one of the hardest things for me to do.
Oh,
Do
wow.
you hear that quite a bit, or?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. And I hear it for multiple reasons. One is it's because people have to dig in to their life.
Yes.
and they're really worried about what people are thinking of them. And so they're not too sure that they want to tell those stories because it's hurting them, and it might hurt, the people that might read it, and it might hurt their family or their friends or people that are involved in the stories. So yeah, absolutely. And the other big reason that I think people struggle with writing their book is because they see it as such a complicated, hard task, right? And that was one of the biggest things that a coach has to do, is help their students or their client persevere and keep moving forward. And I remember you and I having tons and tons of conversation, and it's like, oh, I just don't want to do it, right? And I'm like, well, no, have you thought about this angle, or have you thought about this? And then, just having that little spark of another idea, like, oh yeah, that's right, okay, yeah, on it, okay, I'm gone, I'm done, I can move forward, right? So
You
yeah.
know, you're exactly right. And the one thing that I really love about this, we're talking about, external goals. Like, what better time in history in the world? How many people are trying to persevere and overcome the odds, not just in, writing a book, but in life, right?
Well, absolutely. It's not just about writing a book. It's about anything that we want in life. And me getting burnt as a 2-year-old, to 75% of my body. I've actually met my doctor that saved my life, and he said to me, "Cal, you are not supposed to live." I even met the anesthetist that was in the operating room with me, not when I was 2, but when I was a little bit older. And she said the same thing, "Cal, like, we did not expect you to live. Like, how did you live? Like, how did you get through it? Right? How did you get through?" Like, I died a couple times in the operating room, and my doctor was telling us, some of the stories of things that happened to me in the operating room, and he's like, holy, like, one time, the tube came out of my throat from the anesthetist, trying to keep me alive, and he couldn't get it back in, and so my doctor had to like slice me open in my neck so they could get the tube back in, and I was almost dead at that point. And it's like, how did they persevere? And so I believe that there's multiple reasons. I believe that there's a spiritual reason
Mm.
that we're meant to live, we're meant to persevere through things. And I know, Sean, you've told me some stories about your life, same type of thing. It's like, how did I live through this? So I believe a lot of it is that whole spiritual piece, that we are meant to to do something in this world. We're meant to teach people, we're meant to inspire people, empower people. And it's up to us to decide, okay, am I going to be that poor little burn survivor that's just going to feel sorry for myself, or am I going to take my story and do something with it?
Mm.
And that was a big thing for me, was that I don't want to be that poor little burn survivor that just wants everybody to think that I'm a poor little victim. Yeah, it's really tragic that I went through this. It's tragic that I've been through a divorce. It's tragic I lost my dad. It's tragic I lost a baby. I held my dead baby. It's tragic that all of this stuff happened to me. But what am I doing about it? And that's the big thing, right? Like, a lot of people struggle with mental health issues, and they just don't know how to pull themselves through, getting through all that and seeing the gift in it.
Yeah.
The gift of my baby dying was that I had 2 twin boys. We never would have brought the twin boys into the world if I would have had the little girl, because we would have just stopped at the 2 little girls. And that's the gift in my baby passing, right? So I think that people really have to change their perspective on how they see things in life. And the tragedy in me getting burnt as a 2-year-old, yeah, that's tragic. Oh my God, the surgeries I've had to have, and the pain I've been in, and the staring and the teasing and the bullying and everything. But they did a documentary about my life story, and then Gorecast did a video, and it has over 10 million views. Like, I can say that I've impacted the whole population of New York City just with that
Phenomenal.
one video. And
Wow.
so we have a choice. Do you want to see yourself as a victim, or do you want to see yourself as somebody who can do something about it and help other people? And that's, Sean, why I love that you told your story too. Same type of thing. Like, when I read your book again and again, how did you persevere through all of that?
You know, that's that's what I love about this. And I love that you went right there, which is to, boom, right to the core, which is we're more than what happens on the outside. There's something deeper inside of us, right?
Absolutely.
And it was the same thing with me. And we have different circumstances. Yes, and you read my book, and you know what? That's why writing my book was probably the hardest thing. I had people who come up to me like, oh my gosh, look at the discipline in order to get into, fitness. And I struggle with food. And it was like, no, like honestly, changing the outside was easier than digging deep into myself, those whole mental and emotional
Mhm.
pieces that I wanted to just sort of pack away and make sure nobody saw, including myself. And that's why writing the book and digging deep and feeling what I needed to feel and, really looking at what happened gave me the exact opportunity is what you're talking about is how can I reframe this? How can I, because that was one of my things, Kelly, was I want to make sure that I tell my story, not from a victim perspective either. It was like, how can I reframe it? And that was like one of the greatest exercises for me to do was even to just sit down and begin to
Yeah.
write the book.
Yeah. And I still remember too when I was coaching you to do your first speech. And I remember how you were like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say that I've done this, this, and this. And you were speaking to a group of men. And I just said, no, you're not going to do that. And he's like, and I still remember you saying, what do you mean? No, this is what I want to do, right? Because, you want to show that you're successful and happy and have everything going for you. But what happens is that people don't relate to you that way. So then when I had you dig in and tell that really, heartfelt story about how, been through multiple divorces and children and, all the tragedies that you faced and being held at gunpoint and all those things that happened to you, that is when the audience said, oh my God, I got to know this man, right? He's
You know,
speaking to me.
oh, there's real, as you're saying that, what really jumps out is the real value in knowing our life journey. Like really looking, like sitting down and looking at it. And honestly, I think everyone, whether they're writing a book or not, to take the time to just self-reflect, to go over the life that they've been living
Hmm.
it can be one of the most powerful things. What was your experience? Like you mentioned the documentary, and because I remember, because I was involved in that, and it was just like, it was, to me, it was one of the greatest things to be there for you through that. And I remember a lot of the emotions that you were going through, even in that documentary, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was crazy because I still remember just before you were and I were going to be interviewed. And I don't know if you know this part, but what just before they were going to interview me about you because you had just come in, I burst into tears right just before they were starting to roll camera on me. And
Mm.
my director was like, what is going on? Because I just like the tears just started flowing. I'm like, and I said, I don't know. He goes, yeah, what's going on. I said, well, I'm just like so amazed and overwhelmed because like Sean drove 3 hours to be here for me. And he's putting his life on hold to be a part of this with me. And so are you. And this is like a real production, right? Like we've got a team of 12 people working on my little story, right? That I don't think has that big of an impact, right? It's just like, yeah, I lived it. So what, right? Like sometimes we don't see the power in our stories. And
Mm.
so you're right. Like I was going through a ton of emotions with that whole documentary because it's like I was scared to put my life out there in such a big way because there was a number of things going on, right? It's like, well, what are people going to think of me? I don't want people to think that I'm just a, amazing, crazy, not crazy, but amazing, powerful woman when I don't always feel that way,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
So, and that
That's
was a huge thing for me, is I didn't want people to put me way up here when I still am just Kelly, right?
Absolutely. Oh, it's so powerful what you're saying, Kelly, because I've, even in some of my coaching, and this with all of the, hundreds, thousands of people that you have been coaching and speaking to, is I love what you said as far as it's just me, Kelly, and in my little story, but it's not. It's your story that helps the stay-at-home dad or mom, who's just having a rough day and they don't know why. And they're trying to compare themselves to like even social media, right? All of this, the way people they think they should be living. And it's like, no, we all have this something inside. And that's why I love what you talk about, this spirit in us. And I think our story is how we connect to that. And that's how, everything, I think that's where overcoming the odds starts, is truly getting inside. What do you think?
I totally agree. The thing is, we are really quick to judge people just by what they look like, and we think they have it all together. And we don't understand what's really going on. And I still remember I met this lady and in Calgary, actually, and she just looked like she was so well put together. Like she just looked perfect, perfect hair, perfect outfit. She just looked so powerful. And I went up to her and I said, you know what? You just look amazing. And she said, you know what? Thank you. She said, because I don't feel it. Like I'm going through some stuff in my life and I'm just not feeling all there. And yet, here when I see her, she just looks incredible. Right. So, we're always trying to overcome things, and it's up to us to decide where are we going to go with it. Right. Like I just do my thing and and I don't really think I'm doing anything. Like I don't even know how to explain what I mean by that. It's I feel like I'm just living my life doing things just the way I would normally do things. And then, my boyfriend's like, Cal, like you were doing amazing. And I'm like, I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. Like I just feel like I'm not doing enough. And here I am, with all these accolades, and here I think I'm not doing enough. Right. But
You know,
yeah.
that's you're touching on something that is resonating with me as you say this, right? And to me, when I look at you and my relationship with you, I just feel this authenticity with you. And I think that speaks through the noise of what the world is going through right now, is that authenticity, that realness, that rawness. That's, to me, that's like this magic pill that people are looking for in fitness. It's the magic pill that people are looking for in business or relationships. That's the work, isn't it? How do I really be vulnerable, authentic, real? Like, to me, that's what the world is calling for right now.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what the world is calling for. Right. I'll never forget. This was, I had to go do a speech, and this lady came in and she just had this whole aura about her, that she just walked in, that she was like the best in the room. And it was just kind of weird. The feeling that I was getting from her, it was just like the way she was walking. I was just like, I'm the best. Right? Don't mess with me because I'm the best. And so, and then she walked past me, wouldn't even notice me, that kind of thing, wouldn't smile or say hi or nothing. And so I went and they showed one of my videos, and it was just a short video that Shaw TV had done. It was before my Goalcast video. And all of a sudden I looked at her and no, and they showed the video, and then all of a sudden everybody gave me a standing ovation before I even spoke. And I look at this girl and she's bawling her eyes out, just bawling. And I'm thinking, hold it, what is going on with you? Why is it that now this is what's going on with you? But I think that is the key to life. And I think that's the key to connecting with people, is being vulnerable. and sharing those heartfelt stories. Like I have so many people tell me their secrets. They told me that they cheated on their wife or their husband, or that they've almost hit their husband or almost hit their wife. And some of the things people tell me, and I'm like, why do people want to share this with me? But I think it's because also, and this is one of the things that I think I'm really good at, is that I'm a good listener. So,
Absolutely.
and that's the key thing, is just listen to people. Like not everybody wants to hear your story, but they want to hear, they want to, they want you to just to listen and not judge them. And I think that's the key thing, is that we're so quick to judge people. And that makes it difficult for people to persevere, because they're so worried about what their family's thinking, or their best friend or something. Oh, I'm going to hurt their feelings. Who cares?
Totally.
Who
Totally.
cares? Like, if you want to persevere, you got to stop worrying about what everybody's thinking about you. And that was a big thing for me, is I had to stop worrying about every time somebody looked at me. I was one, like when I was a younger adult, um, I just thought everybody was staring at me because I was ugly. And, I had to stop caring about everybody's thoughts.
Yes.
And when you
Yes.
do that, you can persevere. I just stopped caring about whether somebody thought I was doing the right thing or the wrong thing, right? Or I just had to go do what I wanted to do, regardless of what some people might think, because you're not going to make everybody happy.
Never. Never. And I discovered that too. I got out of the hospital when I first started my fitness journey, and I I wanted to become a better father, more energy for my daughters, right? As you
Yes.
remember. And I got judged for doing that. It was like, well, you're about looking good, and it's about the self-image. And it was like, and meanwhile, I grew up acne and braces and glasses and ear operations where, I was bandaged like a light bulb going to school, and I'd cry going home and bullied, right? And I got judged then. And then when I went the other way to try and improve myself, my health and everything, I got judged for that. And so what you're talking about is exactly right. We're going to get judged by other people
Mhm.
in the beginning until we decide what we want to do, not them.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you.
I totally agree with you about that too. And people don't know about your journey of having acne and braces and being bandaged up and ear surgeries and all that. They think that your life was perfect right from day one.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and even me, like people say, oh my God, Cal, you've got this medal and you've got TEDx talks and you've won all these speaking competitions and you're doing so amazing. But they didn't see the past 10 years of me being a struggling single mom and not being able to afford the power. And
Yeah.
then, having to tell my kids we have no power, right? They haven't seen those days. They haven't seen those days when, I couldn't afford to, put food on the table, right? They didn't see any of that stuff. They haven't seen all the struggles that it took to get to where I am now.
Absolutely. Would you say, Kelly, that it was those struggles that actually ennobled you to be where you are?
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because, I think would I do it over again? And when I would say yes. Like as a teenager, if you would ask me then, would you have changed getting burnt as a 2-year-old? Absolutely. I wouldn't have wanted it as a teenager. I wouldn't have, right? I hated being the Scarface girl. I hated that. But as an adult, and as I look back at my life and see all the things that happened and all, having the 3 beautiful kids, and no, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all. And especially now, because I've got a great man in my life and he's fantastic. Right? He's so supportive of who I am and what I do. And, when I'm feeling run down, he takes care of me. And he's like, Cal, no, you don't have to be working 10, 12 hours a day. You can take a break. it's not going to make that much of a difference. And I'm like, no, I have to get this done. I've got this event in 3 weeks and I've got all these people counting on me. And no, I have to get this done. And he's like, no, Cal, you take care of you first.
You know what, that Kelly, that point right there is something that I want to touch on right now, because, it seems like that might go against perseverance or overcoming the odds, because I know that when I first think of that, it's about push, 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 drive, 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 make it happen. And, no rest for the wicked, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, that is where we can really tap into that energy, that inner part, that spirit that you began touching upon. That's the real perseverance. That's where it starts, or that's a great starting point, isn't it? Is to also know the other side, the opposite, which is, whoa, yeah, it doesn't have to be hard all the time. I can make it easier on myself.
I totally agree with you. And in fact, these past couple days I've been sick. And so I spent literally all day in bed yesterday, all morning in bed. And when you text me, hey, you ready for the show? And I'm like, and I said, not yet, but I will be.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that's, overcoming the odds. It's about perseverance. And it's like, no, I'm going to push myself. I need to do this. I want to do this. I want to support Sean and I want to support his audience. And this is such an incredible topic, because right now, I hate to bring up the C word, because I hate that we talk about it every day. But with COVID, I mean, we're facing the odds, we're facing, massive changes. Even
Yes.
myself, when COVID first hit, like I lost all my speaking gigs almost 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, what's next? And I laid on the couch for a week. I literally did not do anything for a week. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And my sister helped me out and said, if you need money, let us know. We'll help you. We really pulled together as a family. And then I said, okay, what next? And I thought, well, I guess I'm doing this book thing and, full time. And so I put on one course, and it was pay what you can, because I was concerned that people weren't going to be able to pay a lot of money because of COVID. I thought, well, I don't know how to even price this 1-day course that I'm going to do. And so I did it. And I said, pay what you can. I don't care whether it's $20 or $50, $100, it doesn't matter. And the most beautiful thing that came of that was that one of the girls that took the course, she contacted me, and you've probably heard of her, Maria. So Maria contacted me and she said, Kel, I'm so glad you made that a virtual course. And I was like, why? What's that? She goes, well, I have cancer and I was going through chemo at that time. And if you were going to do it in person, I wasn't going to be able to do it. But because you did it virtually, I was able to be on screen. She said, I turned my video off, but I was still able to take your course. And now she's a best-selling author. She wrote 10 books.
Wow.
And now she's coaching people. Now she's doing speaking gigs. And now she just expanded her whole world. And she said, Kel, you changed my life.
Wow.
Right?
Yes. So when you talk about the C word, yeah, because I remember it was the same thing for me when because you remember the phone call when I was talking to you about the exact same thing. It was like in-person fitness clients, they were dropping, and it was like, oh, geez, what does this mean? Does it mean something's wrong? And it was like, no. Okay, what's next? Life has a purpose, and what's next for me, right?
Exactly.
But I remember that uncomfortable feeling and fear and doubt and worry and
Yep.
does this mean I'm a failure all over again? Oh my gosh, right? Is this, me going back in life? And I think one of the greatest things, and you and I talked about it that day, was no, life is about moving forward, about expanding, about evolving ourselves. And, and it was true. All of a sudden I started to, do coaching online and more, consulting. And I went from not just training people on physical muscles, but inner muscles, the mindset, and, all of those places that were sort of hidden from view.
Yeah.
And as you talk about C word, to me, it's about community. You're building
Yes.
a community
Yes.
in order for people who are also uncomfortable and they're sort of stuck. And it's like, okay, how can I move forward? How can I truly be supported in a new way? And to me, that's what I see happening in the world is just that.
I love it. And I've loved watching you grow, and I've loved watching you, do your new show, and, the people that you're connecting with, and at a whole different level too, right? Like that's what I think is phenomenal too.
You know, but I see that with everyone that you coach and help and collaborate with, because I just see that whole new model of business and relationship happening. And that's why, when we look at community, it's not just, okay, I'm the expert or you're the expert and we're going to give you all the answers. It's like, no, everyone has a say. What's really going on for us all, right? And so I just see that it's not just outside, we're changing on the inside and having to just really embrace a lot of these changes.
Well, and I think what it's really doing too is it's where what people should be doing is really digging into what their passions are. Like how many times have people been stuck in dead end jobs or relationships that they aren't enjoying? And that was a big thing for me. Why am I doing some of this stuff that I don't like, right, or that
Mm,
I'm not happy to do? And so that's what 2021 and 2022 has done for me, is really evaluate, like, what do I want in my life, what do I want to achieve? And 2021, like, I was working my butt off, and it wasn't until I met Rod and this summer, and he was like for 2 months I could not get off the couch. I was just so exhausted, and he's like, Cal, you don't have to work that hard, right? And so what he helped me to realize was that I could actually simplify my life and actually enjoy it more. The heck? Sorry.
is that on your end or is that my
I
end
think
or?
that's on my end. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I think, no, I think you're exactly right. And in the way that we've been taught how to push in life. And now it's, how do I give back to myself? How do I listen more? How do I, really tap into those passions? Exactly what you're talking about. It's like, and sort of coming full circle on this, really self-evaluating and looking at, okay, what's now? And I think that's one of the biggest roadblocks when I coach people and help people when they hit that roadblock and they're stuck and they're stagnant and they're wondering, oh my gosh, because my solution when I hit that was like, well, I guess it's not meant to be, burn it to the ground and start over from scratch. And I really honestly believe that right now we're given an opportunity to not have to burn things all the way to the ground, but it's like, no, stop. And then really just go inside and see what it is and allow to just transform what's in front of us. We don't have to just like burn it to the ground. It's wrong. Must have like served its point in my life. And you know what? Build fresh.
I totally agree with you about that. And Sean, one of the things that I love about you that I learned a lot from is to question everything.
Mm,
Right. I remember, when you and I had lots of our coaching calls together and writing your book, and that was a big thing that you always said, question everything. And so I believe that that's what, the C word is doing to us, is making us question everything, like question our relationship, question our life. Like, do we really need to work 10, 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day? Like, I've got so many of my girlfriends that are just so burnt out because they're just pushing and pushing and pushing themselves that they have to make a 6-figure income, or they have to make $500,000, or they have to make a 7-figure income. And that was something that I realized, do I really need to? Like one of my coaches, his goal is for me to make $500,000 a year. And when I really looked at my life and what I was doing to get to that, I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying pushing myself 10, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. I'm not liking it. And that was when, my boyfriend said, Kel, like, really, is this what you want? And I'm like, no, I can just make a 6-figure income and be happy with that. I don't want to have that kind of life where all I am is focused on work and business and not on my relationships and enjoying life. So I've actually gone back to actually just simplifying and doing things that I absolutely love. And that's what I want to do.
Kelly, from my experience and just seeing you and everything that you've gone through over, I honestly have come from my experience too. The more that I've paid attention as a dad, the relationship to my kids, to, my wife, to myself, like really what's deep, not to just say it, but to really explore it.
Yeah.
I had to pull back from the outside world. But honestly, this is why this is one of the things that I say, that as we blossom and bloom, meaning really go for what's inside of us next, and then it might be next 6 months or a year from now, and then next, that honestly, things start to unfold in our life that seems to defy working so hard, but it starts to just flow easier. And we can experience true joy and happiness and really see that life is supporting us when we actually can not just work our knuckles to the bone, but go within and explore those stories and see what it's pointing to next, that we can actually become more successful by doing less, but doing more purposeful what we truly care about. That's what I hear you say as well when you mention that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you about that. And so I think that people have to be more open to, hey, this might seem horrible that you're going through this and that you're losing your job or you're losing your business, but
Yeah.
what else can I do? And that is one of the things that I do to persevere. Like there's been so many times, people think I've done all this amazing stuff, but there's been so many things I failed at that the world doesn't know about. How many times did I put on an event or attempt to put on an event and nobody was going to buy tickets or show up? And it was like, okay, so what else can I do? Instead of beating myself up and saying, okay, I'm such a failure, that was not what I said to myself. I said, what else can I do? What's the other possibility for me? And that's what I think we need to do is really dig in deeper and just ask those questions to yourself. It's just like you said, Sean, question everything. Everything.
That's right. Because I found myself, if it was not working, I would just question that. But the positive things, what if I questioned the positive things? Okay, why is this working? Why does that, right? It was like, oh, well, that's working, so I don't have to deal with that. I'll just handle the negative side of things and try and either get rid of it or get something new to add to the positive. Yet, if I actually went more into the positive side of things, the things I really loved, my family, my, being healthy and having more energy and, trying to really enjoy life on the next level. Oh my gosh, that actually came full circle to help me dealing with the negatives instead of just trying to force fix it, get rid of it. So, I agree with you 1,000%, Kelly. I think that's what we're facing right now, is that very opportunity to redefine ourselves, our lives, to recalibrate, pivot, whatever these buzzwords are out there.
Yeah.
But it's true. And that's what I love what you're doing. is bringing together people to go over that opportunity, to sit down, explore their stories. Because, you know, I'm forever now a component of, when you know your life story,
Hmm.
it's pointing you in the next steps. There's jewels there, there's gems, there's gold nuggets.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When I look at my story and I think back to all the things that I've gone through, and um, it blows me away, because I just think, okay, no, I'm meant to go through this. I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to share my story with all these people to help them to see the gift in their story, and to see that they can persevere, and, you know, to see that there is a purpose. And a lot of times we don't know what that purpose is.
Yes.
And we aren't meant to be um, unhappy. Like, the reason we're unhappy in life is because we're doing things we don't like, or we're doing things to ourselves we don't like. Right. I actually designed a course. This was quite a few years ago, and I never did launch it, but it's called You're More Than Enough. And one of the things that my coach made me do, this was about, I think, 7 or 8 years ago. And I was going through a really rough time. And she said, go look in the mirror and tell me what you see. And I said, no. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, no, I can't do it. She goes, what do you mean you can't do it? I said, I can't do it. I can't look at myself in the mirror. The reason I couldn't look at myself in the mirror is because I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. Right? I was being disrespectful to myself.
Mm.
Okay. And I was doing things that I knew was wrong. And that was why I couldn't love myself. That was why I couldn't see whether I was beautiful or not. It was because of what I was doing to myself. And what I found was really interesting, and this even happened to me when I was, you know, first deciding whether I was going to leave my marriage or not. And that was, what, I think 10 or 11 years ago. And I'll never forget, same type of thing. She said, look in the mirror. And I was like, I can't do it. And what I saw in the mirror was the two lies I was telling myself. And the one
Mm.
lie was that I was happy in my job and my business that I had. And the second lie I was telling myself was that I was happy that I was married and that I was in love with my husband. And I wasn't. So it's really hard to go and look in the mirror and persevere when all you're seeing is all the shit that you're doing
Wow.
in your life. And so I really believe too that that is the biggest reason people don't love themselves, is because maybe they're gambling their life savings away, and they're lying to their kids about where they are, right? Or, you know, maybe they're cheating on their spouse and they're lying about where they're at, and they're hoping they don't get caught. Or maybe they're embezzling money out of the company they work for, or whatever it is. And when you really dig deep, it's those things that are causing people not to love themselves. I know you're dying to say something, Sean.
Oh, well, it always happens with you and me, Kelly. But oh my gosh, that is a mic drop right there, Kelly, because what you're talking about, that's that authenticity piece. That's that integrity. That's the really going for what's inside of you instead of covering it up. Because I also, what comes up for me when we talk about this is just because I was so good at that. I was covering up and pretending I was okay. No, right? And yeah, I had to get honest with myself too. And that's one of the things that you and I went over was, okay, why? Why are you not doing this?
Yeah.
Why? And it's true. It's like trying to hold all these balls under the water. No, can't let anyone see, you know, the real truth. And it's draining my energy. And wow, that's why I
So,
love you, Kelly, because you're so
wow.
authentic and you hold people and you bring them into their truth, their alignment. And to me, that's what we need more of.
And that's what I love about you, because it's like we could see the whole COVID thing as a real negative, massive, horrible thing that happened to us, or we can see some positives out of it. And I know, like, the positive that came out of it for me was that I was working too hard, and
Mhm.
it made me reevaluate, what do I want to do in my life. It made me see that we can be brought together, right? Like, how many times have you said, I wish I had more time with my kids, or more time with my family, or had more time with my friends? And yet, you just jump on Zoom and you talk to them, right? And get a bunch of them together and do it. How many times have we wanted the world to slow down,
Yeah.
right? That was a big thing for me, is that the world slowed down, right? I was able to really look at my life. And I think that that is a big thing too, is how do we slow down our lives so that we can really appreciate and love what we have. This past summer, oh, I don't know if I can tell this story because I'm already getting choked up, but my cousin passed away from cancer, liver cancer, and he was only 49. And I'm like, 49 years old, and his life is over. And he finally had the woman of his dreams, finally had an amazing little, young little boy in his life, and his life is over. And I'm older than him, right? Like, I'm the oldest of all the cousins, and I'm thinking, okay, why am I working this hard? Right? Why am I not spending more time with my friends or my family, or enjoying, all the blessings that I do have, right?
Yeah.
And I think that what we that's what I believe COVID is doing to us. I mean, we can see it as this horrible negative thing, or we can see it as, what else can I do to make my life better, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, do I need to get healthier? Do I need to start doing things I love more, right? Do I need to start appreciating more about what I have, and not focus on what I don't have? And what can I do with what I have, right?
Yes.
Right? What other skills do I have? What other things can I do to make a living, or to empower people? I'm getting back into my artwork and doing more of that, because it brings me so much joy and excitement and happiness. And so, what else? There's a million things that we can do in this world. We don't have to be stuck to that one job, or that job we hate, or that business we hate, or that relationship we hate,
Yeah.
right? That's how you overcome the odds, is by pivoting and doing the things you love.
I love that. I love that. You nailed it right there. Slowing down, take a look. What else can I do? Exactly what you said. What else? What is it I love to do? Life is, it goes by in a blink. So, let's
Yes.
let's let's see what we're really passionate about, what's really inside of us. And I think it'll surprise us. You know, when I look at what my biggest fear was
Yeah.
being seen, being heard. I would not, because I got bullied and ridiculed, that I learned to just be quiet, don't be seen. And look what's interesting, through what life has done, through everything that I've gone through, all of a sudden now I'm speaking and I'm teaching, and it's like that was my biggest fear,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
I know. and
So bizarre.
and I remember us having some conversations about when you were writing your book, and there was this one story. I can't remember what it was, but there was this one story in there, and you're like, oh, I think it was also about when you were held at gunpoint, right? And you didn't want to put that story in the book. And I was like, why not, Sean? What if that story helps somebody else? And then you're like, you're right. Okay, fine. I'll put that story in the book, right? But it's true. We never know how that one story might impact other people. And, even when I tell the story about my baby dying, I'll have people come up to me and they'll say, you know what, I lost a baby too. Thank you for sharing that story, right? Because I feel like I can really connect with you and really relate to you. And that's how you get people to relate to you. That's how you, by being vulnerable. So sharing those
Absolutely.
painful stories.
Yes. No, it's true. And yeah, I remember that conversation. It was like, nah, I don't want to put that in there. But yet it was a pivotal moment in my life because I could have gone further down this path, but it was that moment that I was faced with a decision. It was like, okay, no, I'm changing that way of life right now.
Yeah.
And it took that happening. And so, yeah, I think that, everything that you're sharing right now is so amazing, Kelly. And I know that you have an event coming up, right?
I do. I do. I have another best-selling author mastery event coming up end of January, 28th to 30th. And yeah, so
Fantastic.
yeah. So it's at a 3-day event where we teach people how to write, publish, and launch their books and become best-selling authors. And we have a few other speakers that help people in the book industry. And yeah, we really help people get super clear on what their books are, what they should be. We even do what I call hot or not titles. So you get to submit your book title, and then everybody votes to see if it's a good title or not. We also have some coaches. One is you. That coaches through your book and everything, so everybody gets access to you or Elizabeth. And yeah, it's a really awesome event. People just love it. Yeah,
And so that sounds amazing. And they actually have a chance to go in and begin to do some of the work, right? To really,
absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we have
And
in breakout rooms. And yeah, I remember last time though, you were so super busy coaching everybody though. I heard we had you booked so solid you couldn't even go to a bathroom break till 3 o'clock or something like that.
I thought I'd be able to get some of this like valuable information. And it was like, I missed the whole thing. But so hopefully this time I can, participate a little bit differently too. But no, I totally recommend it because even just going through the exercise of, contemplating their stories, your stories, and beginning to write them down and look at them, I think is a valuable exercise for everybody. So did you get the website on that, Kelly? Is there?
Yeah, the website is bestselling author mastery live.com.
Okay.
Or your audience, what they can do is I've got a free blueprint, so it's a free gift for them, and it's
Okay.
called this How to Publish a Book in 7 Easy Steps. Or they can also book a free 30-minute call with me, and that link is 7stepsauthor.com because there's 7 steps to becoming an author. So
Love it.
7stepsauthor.com, and that's where they can book the call, and they can also get the blueprint. And actually, the link may be there too to book for the event that's the end of January. So
Okay, so I will make sure that I also get those links and I can include them as well on social media and everything, so everyone can just click on that as well. So Kelly, such an amazing pleasure to catch up with you, and I look forward to being at that event with you and serving you and your community with everything that I can. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
well, and you're going to do a speech at that one too, so people get to
All
learn
right.
from you.
Well, perfect. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to that. I know we'll chat more about that. So
Because your book has been on the bestseller list for what, a year and a half now, isn't it?
yeah, that's
Like it's incredible. Like every time I look at it, it's still on the bestseller list, which is awesome because a lot of times people get on the list for about an hour and they fall off. But yours has been on the list for well over a year and a half. So it's so awesome. Love it.
well, again, that's kudos to you and the team, and absolutely, it's phenomenal. And I know we'll be sharing lots of secrets and skills and tactics on how to do that. So
You bet.
yeah. Kelly, lots of love as always.
Lots of love to you too,
And
Sean. Thank you.
yes, have an
Honor.
amazing rest of your day, and we'll catch up real soon.
Yes, because we got to start working on book 2.
Yes, we do. Okay.
Okay. You take care.
Thanks,
Have a
Kel.
great day. Thanks,
We'll
Sean.
talk
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.